welcome to another episode of the EvoGen podcast. I'm here with Maisie and Colby, and let's just dive right into it.
Okay, today we're talking about why people quit right before it works. So like the messy middle part, if you will.
Okay.
I feel like the best place to start for this is just diving right into the phase of where nothing seems to be working. I'm sure that you guys have been through this time and time again, because I know I have, of where you're just sitting there, you're like, okay, this is gonna get me money, and then it doesn't, and then you wait a little bit longer, and you're like, okay, it's gonna be this one, and then it doesn't. So yeah, how did you guys push past that? How did you deal with it? All things.
Yeah, so for me, like, I pushed past it just because I think, kind of like what we were talking the last episode about the longer term process.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, whenever I capture a deal and I get a deal done, a lot of people, they think about, okay, you know, will this be something I see monthly? Will this be something I see on a consistent basis? And sometimes it won't be, right? There will be a month, 3 months, 2 months of just a dry spell. And then all of a sudden you start to see it again. And then, you know, I guess the boost comes back, the motivational boost of just having to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there will be ideas that just won't go well. Mm-hmm. And then that comes back to what we were saying last podcast about the pivoting part of things. But yeah, I feel like if you just keep moving and you look for also the informed information part of things, and you inform yourself on what you're getting yourself into and get really good at it, do your due diligence, it's going to be really hard for you to get out of that hole that you dug.
Yeah.
So.
I was looking at Colby because he looked like he was about to laugh, and then I was about to laugh because Colby was about to laugh. Why are you about to laugh?
I was not about to laugh. I was just thinking, I mean, a lot of the times we sit there and we honestly start, like, when we're starting something, we do a lot of napkin math.
Yeah.
And then we're like, and you get a month into it or 2 months into it, and none of that napkin math is actually penciling out, and you're like, why isn't this working? Mm-hmm. And you suddenly think, like, you go into crisis and you're like, this is like, I'm failing, like, nothing's going to work. We often overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do in 10 years.
Yeah.
So it just comes to a point where you have to be like, it's good to do that napkin math and to just start getting excited over something, but to know that when it's like not following that exact trajectory, that's 100% normal.
Yeah, they're actually in there. I have sticky notes of like me breaking down my commission structure for like each and every sale, because every sale that you make, like, you end up getting more commission over time because it just like compounds and anyways, when I first got started in the model, I was like, I wrote it all down on like 5 different sticky notes. Okay, this first sale is going to do this and pay for this and do this and this and this and this and this. And then I just had them sitting on my desk. I have them in there right now because they have my EvoGen, like the times I need to edit on my videos, because I wrote it on the back of them. But yeah, for a while, I feel like I was just like, this isn't panning out. I haven't done the first one yet. Like, what's going to happen? But if I would have given up, then, like, I guess that's the topic that we're talking about, is like most people will give up when they're in that point, or before they see results, or maybe they see a result or two and then they give up because they're not seeing any more very quickly. And so you just, I don't know, you can't let it get to you, or at least you can't let it make you quit. You can let it get to you because it's an emotional journey for sure. I've definitely felt the ups and downs, and I'm sure you guys have as well. But don't let it be the reason that you quit.
Right. I can't remember who said this quote. I know it's another quote that's been said by several people, but it is, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, at least you'll land among the stars. I hate SMART goals. I don't believe in SMART goals, by the way.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah, I forgot those were a thing.
Right? If they're like sure, specific, but measurable, timely, all that crap. No. Set deadlines, 100%. You better have a deadline.
Is it attainable?
The attainable crap? No, I can never. It has to be something impossible. If it's not impossible for me, I'm not going to be hungry enough to go and try and achieve it.
Right.
But like again, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, at least you'll land among the stars.
Yeah.
So even if you don't attain that like impossible 10x goal, if you don't hit it, that's okay. At least you're like you shot for it, and whatever goal you were gonna hit, at least you like hit probably beyond that most of the time. Because most of us maybe like we don't hit our goals most of the time. So why set an attainable goal when you're not gonna attain that attainable goal?
Yes,
Right.
yes, for sure. I think obtainable goals is good only if you know that one, it won't happen, and number two, that you'll still be making a lot of progress than that unrealistic obtainable goal. Like if you say that you're trying to 10x, let's just say for within the year, and you don't 10x, you look back and you 7x, or you at least 5x. You know,
It's huge.
and then you pat yourself in the back because then next year, if you could do another 5x, you 10x within 2 years, and then
Yeah.
down the road you'll reach the moon, and then later on the stars. If you miss the moon for
Right.
1 year, let's just say, or 2.
Well, even at that point, like you're still making 10x. You're still doing that. It's just not in one stretch. It's
Yeah.
multiple times, which is
Yes.
more realistic. It's a realistic goal.
Right.
Yes, yes,
Exactly. And so I think that's where we all start out. But then now getting back to like what we're talking about in the podcast and why people give up before it works is I think they get to the point where they set this impossible goal or they set a pretty good goal and they get to that point where they feel like it's not working and they quit because of it. But they're not taking the time. What they're doing is they're so focused on that horizon. They're so focused on the goal. But the thing about the goal is you never achieve the goal. The horizon is always moving. If you chase the horizon, you're never going to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In business, like the goal, the horizon is always moving and it's always shifting and changing. You're never going to get there. But you have to take time to look back at what you learned and what you did and the progress you made. If you don't take that time, you're going to quit because you feel like you've done nothing.
Yes.
I think most people also just mainly look at the monetary side of things, and that's not the only success. Like, if I would have just stuck to the monetary, I would be out of the game like
Yeah.
Ouch.
forever ago. Like, because it took a minute to be able to see any sort of monetary gain, but any win, like I had a post that generated 300 leads. That's the first post that's ever done that in my entire life. Like, and they were all qualified. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah.
So
That is, before I was, well, I don't know, like looking at my past posts, like I was never over the 100 mark of 100 people on a single post. And now I have one with 300. Like that's 3xing my current or my previous results, or I can't do the math. But you get what I'm saying.
Yes, yes. And then knowing that happened, you can do it again and
Exactly.
again and again. But there, like I said last episode, there's a lot of pivoting required, right? There's a lot of things you have to understand, like, okay, what worked and what didn't? And then what didn't, how can I make that work?
Yeah.
But also from there, I mean, I guess I'm specifically talking about lead generation, so maybe it's something else, like the numbers may be something else for someone else. But at the end of the day, like 300 leads, that's 300 opportunities. Like that's still keeping the door open. And like you said, like I've done it before, I can do it again. So
Yes.
say I'm not able to, something in my strategy or whatever, something later down the line in the process doesn't work out. And I mean, it'd be crazy, but I like all those 300 people are just like off the table, like, because I don't know, I sucked. Like if that was the case, like, okay, do it again, get 300 more people and just do it
Yes,
again until it
For
works.
sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's all a numbers game, right?
Mhm.
And then eventually, probability. I think it's funny how like the stuff about probability is like the probability of being a millionaire or a billionaire. But it's like, okay, the probability is only when you stop seeking for that knowledge, or you stop, because I mean, I can have a higher chance of being in the $1 million range, hundreds of millions, billions, if I constantly work and always want to level up knowledge-wise on, where do I allocate my money? Where do I do this? Where do I do that? So like, there's always a next step. There's always a horizon to be chased. But looking back at what you've done and what you understand now is, like what Colby said, is super, super important.
Yeah. Well, even in like statistics, this is just a fun fact. There are more millionaires out there than there are people who've run marathons.
Oh wow.
Really?
Your probability of becoming a millionaire is higher than you running a marathon.
Wow. Wow.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
It's a good chance, like, but you have to take it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. The next thing on here, I kind of touched on it a little bit, was like the emotional dips and how they can affect your decision making. And I feel like I want to start out with this one because though I do not regret moving past my ads agency and completely rebranding it because I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And ads just wasn't like fully aligning with me. I was in that like messy middle space when I left the space and was feeling those emotional dips. Like I had a couple of events that were really successful. I got some clients through, made a couple grand here or there. And then I had 2 more events after that and 0 sales from them, nothing. Like I think I had like a call or 2 booked maybe from them, but nothing came from them. And that's when I was really like feeling low and I was like, hey, something needs to change. And I guess that probably affected my decision making more than like just sticking with it. Like had I seen success from those events, I probably would have been at a higher emotional state. So yeah, I feel like being in those lower spots, you are going to make more reckless decisions and you have to be really self-aware of the decisions. Because I also didn't choose to pivot from ads based on like completely based on that. I had been thinking about it before and then like those results didn't pan out and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm like putting this on the table. So I guess where I'm going with that, so I'm not like contradicting myself, is like be aware of yourself when you're in these emotional states. Don't let them completely take over your decision making. But yeah, I don't know.
The reason I always ask people what they would like to do to like if they could do anything as their career to like make money as their business, whatever it is, if they could do anything, what it would be is A, because yes, you can make money in anything, and is A, so that's A, but then B is kind of exactly what you mentioned, right? I think that if you're doing something, you have to enjoy it without making money for it to be something that you'll stick to, that you'll like actually be gritty with. Because that's what I always ask somebody as well, is like, if you were to do this thing and make no money, but you're still like, okay, like with life, like you can go on and live life even if it's just like somewhat comfortable, would you be happy? And if you're not happy, then you know you need a change. Like I did an ad agency as well, and it was not something that was happy to me.
Yeah.
If I made no money doing it, I would not be happy.
It's
I was
boring.
in there only for the money,
Right.
which is a red flag.
That was where I started too. I guess that's a good point because like I only got started because I saw this coach online who was making hundreds of thousands of dollars every year through running her own ad agency.
If you're tied to the money, it's not going to pan out. That is the fact. If you're tied to the movement and the change that you're like causing in other people in their lives or businesses, that is what you need to be tied to. And if you are making that impact, even if it's just a little bit, and you're happy doing that, that's when you know you're in the right space.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. One thing too is that being tied towards something, what was it that you said again? That you just said?
Like being tied towards
Money, the monetary stuff.
the money.
Yeah, one thing that also hinders growth as well is being tied to an identity. So like if I've been doing something for say 2 years or a year, you would say, oh, I am this, right? And it's really hard, like I said, and I always refer back to what I said because it was so good, that the pivoting part, you know, like adapting towards changing that identity, because where I'm at right now, I won't be doing what I'm doing most likely in the next 15, 20 years, right? I'll be a different person then. But then looking back, you're like, wow, you know, like that's what was required for me to get to where I need to be and where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So
Like, just think of the development of some of the biggest things. It's like, if you look at the development of the iPhone, how many engineers do you think talked to Steve Jobs and said, oh, sorry, we can't build that?
yeah,
Like, it's never been done before.
Yeah.
right.
Right? But it was like his passion. He loved to create, and he found those who were the same way. I'm sure even if it made like very like little money, they would have been happy because they made a huge technological advancement.
Sure.
That was massive. It was huge. It changed the world. So I think it's just being tied to something where you're just passionate about it. That's where you need to be.
Right.
Yeah, I do agree.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like, especially with this new business model and like, well, all the changes that I've made, I wouldn't have been able to go so long without seeing results had I like not cared about the vision, had I not cared about what it was creating for other people or what I could create for other people. Like if I didn't care about that, or like even not even just in my business itself, like what the opportunities that's going to allow me to create later on,
Right.
like if I didn't be so full set on that vision, I wouldn't have been able to just like keep pushing through. It would have been like when I was doing ads, and I would have just been like, okay, cool, time to switch it up a little bit.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
The next thing I have is why most people reset instead of pushing through, which we kind of talked a little bit, but I guess that's one thing that I feel like I did this a lot, especially when I was first creating like Connect and Close and stuff, of feeling like I needed to just throw it away and restart. Or actually, I did this a lot with my first podcast. I didn't like my first couple of episodes, which who does? Whoever likes their first couple of podcast episodes. But I didn't like it. I don't know. I just got sick of it one day. And actually, it was like 2 times that I did this. And I just like deleted them and restarted the whole Maze Pod. So like you can't find the OG first Maze Pod episodes because they're gone.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I would have just pushed through and kept going, like I could have grown it even farther. Then, I mean, Maze Pod didn't get like super big because I didn't put like a ton of effort into it. But like, had I done that, like had it been my thing that I was like putting all my energy and my time into, and I didn't restart it, I would have been way farther than when I did finally. I retired it to start the EvoGen Pod. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. One thing too is that it's okay to restart.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it might feel like you're a complete failure for that, or like you just absolutely suck at what you do, and then like it just like all of that time spent for what, right? But at the end of the day, you're collectively learning and growing as you go, and then like restarting is probably the next time you'll actually hit it this time, right?
Well, I mean, that's why I love the word fail. To be honest, I love it because it hits hard and it hits to home, because like if something did not succeed, but you learned so much from it, it's just so important to fail. Like, I don't know how to better say it. Like you have to fail, and it's part of the journey, and you're gonna fail like several times. Even if you do stick to one thing, there's gonna be a season of failure, but that's what's gonna cause you to grow the most.
Maybe this is case by case, but is there like a specific like time frame or something that you could put on like when it's time to actually reset, instead of, because some people they reset because they're like thinking that something's not working, but really they're right on the edge. And like I was kind of talking about with the Maze Pod, like if I hadn't restarted, I could have been right on the edge of like success or like 10 million downloads or something. Probably not.
Yeah.
But like some goal that I had, I could have been right on the edge and didn't know it, and I restarted and went back to 0. So I guess like, because I feel like it's really important to stay in long enough to see results, but how do you determine what's long enough?
I think when it comes to resetting, I'm not saying reset completely.
Yeah.
I'm saying maybe reset in components that aren't working,
Okay.
right?
Well, yeah.
More of an update.
Yeah, it's like more of an update than it is resetting. So, if I have, let's just say, a CRM for my clientele that is like super old and just lags and stuff like that. I've been using this for 5 years, and let's just say my computer can't handle that anymore. Right?
Is this a true story?
No. No, I wish it was. Yeah, it's about to be here soon. Right?
I thought you were getting a MacBook, the new one.
Yeah, no, I mean, you see, I was thinking, because I don't know, I didn't get I'll tell you after the podcast. So anyways, but what I'm saying is like, it's okay to get yourself like a new computer, as an example, or new equipment. You know, let's just say the equipment is not giving it just because the quality isn't there for the audience, stuff like that. It's okay to sacrifice and throw out your old one for a new one, a completely new one, or a different one, or an alternative. Sometimes you just have to pivot and reset in that sector of your business space in order to see results.
That makes sense. And that's just part of the testing process, especially like with funnels and everything, is figuring out what part of your funnel is not working and do it. So I guess that's a little bit different than like completely just going back and deciding.
If you're going to go back to the chalkboard and erase everything you've had, I think you give yourself a quarter of time. Like you give yourself 3 months is very solid, and that is where you really like you scrutinize every piece of it, and you kind of change it a ton of things, and you do a lot of split testing during that time. If you've seen no results then I think it's time to revisit the chalkboard and erase everything and go back and start from scratch.
Are you talking about any results at all, or like?
I'm talking about like things like if you set a goal and you're like, this is reasonable to hit, and if I don't like hit like a certain percentage of this goal, then I'm gonna just go back to the chalkboard. Like basically, like if it's something that's not producing the fruits you're looking for, if it's a business that you're not happy to be in, or something, but you still want to pursue that because it is the thing that makes you happiest, maybe you don't have the model down correctly, and maybe you have to revisit that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Another thing too is like what you were saying, going back to the chalkboard, even when you're winning, I think it's super healthy every quarter to go back to the chalkboard, the drawing board, and see where things are at, how it's operating, how can you, efficiently improve.
I have board meetings with myself and AI.
As you should.
Yeah.
I think Benjamin Harvey also says this: if you're not like scaling massively, if you're not growing 10x, you're not scaling at all. You're not growing at all.
Yeah.
So you always have to be chasing growth. You always have to be chasing new and innovation. If you're not doing that, then you will eventually be out-phased.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What does it usually look like for you guys, like right before everything falls into place? Like, can you tell that everything's going to fall into place right before it does, or does it just kind of surprise you?
Sometimes it does surprise me personally from what I've experienced, and sometimes it just happens slowly, gradually, right? And usually that wavers around, whether if it's fast or slow. But at the end of the day, you're going to see it, right? It's just a matter of, how much effort are you going to put into it? How much dedication are you going to put into it? How much thought are you going to put into what it is that needs improving at the end of the day?
Yeah. I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think sometimes you see something falling into place, and sometimes something comes out of the blue. I on several occasions, especially like a good example is getting into a mastermind that I got into. That was the Inner Circle one with Russell Brunson. Great move, great people. We've learned quite a bit, but it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. But that alone set up me for the other mastermind I joined, which was Flow, which then got us a really amazing joint venture partner. We did not see that coming. That hit us like a brick wall.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the, like, and again, like, it was, we did one thing with them last year, and then this year they approached us and said, hey, we want to go all the way. Like, we want to go crazy. And like, it came out of nowhere. But then I think there are times when you see everything slowly fall into place, and you're like, okay, this is set up, this is set up, this is.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like for so long I was sitting on like the top of this like mountain, like waiting to go down, I guess, or not go down. I don't know. Like slide down is what I'm picturing. Like you just, woo, you got all the success. Like I feel like I was like on this edge for so long.
Yeah.
And I could like feel it around me, and then finally like slowly things just like started coming into place.
It's a snowball.
Snowball is a better example.
Yeah, you
not a slide.
Roll that small snowball down. It goes and goes, and then it gets bigger and faster.
Yeah.
And until the point where you're like, what the heck? Like it started at this size, and now it's like
That big.
massive and it's just rolling.
Yeah, going down the mountain.
Yeah.
For sure. And sometimes in order for the snowball to roll, you have to push it a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
create that ball.
You're gonna hit. You're gonna like again. I mean, you're gonna hit points where it's gonna go flat. It's gonna go up. Like there's gonna be moments when you do have to push it. You
Yes.
have
I feel like it references like picture. I haven't been able to find it in one of our previous episodes, like maybe the first or second one.
Mm.
But I saw this. It's like a metal ball that's like on a track, and one of
Yeah.
them goes straight down, and one like has hills. And you'd think the one that goes
Oh,
straight
so
down
win.
wins,
I've seen that.
but it doesn't. It's the one that's going up and down because
Mhm.
it's boosting its momentum every time it
Yeah,
goes.
it's like a pump track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, I've seen that video before.
Yeah. Me too. That's a cool one.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I've got. I don't know about you guys.
Cool. I will throw in a visual for anyone who is looking at the video.
I gotta move out of
He's
the
right
way.
there. It's okay though.
I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand and get out.
Yeah.
From you.
But I mean, like, this is exactly like what we're talking about. This is what I always vision whenever I'm talking to somebody about what they're doing and when they hate it. Because you could see this, like, you when you start something, if you just, like, saw somebody make $1 million in real estate and you're like, oh, I'm going to go do that, you're in an uninformed optimism. You're like, it's possible. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to go do it. And then until you start getting it, and then once you're like, for example, Eddie would be able to speak to this a lot when a new person comes to you and is like, oh, I'm going to wholesale.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, get on the phones. How long does it take for them to be like, oh, this sucks?
Oh yeah, no, it takes them maybe like a month minimum to like 3 months max in order to say, oh, like I'm getting
Right.
no traction at all.
Yeah.
So
They get into this informed pessimism. They're like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought. And they talk to a lot more people and they're like, oh, like I don't really like doing this.
Yeah.
And then they get into this crisis meaning and then they crash and burn. Now, I mean, how, like, for an example, how did you get through that?
Well, I actually had a coach that kind of pushed me to understand that it's going to take time, and that, you know, all of that time spent will collectively, I guess, pay me back for it.
Yeah.
So I just believed in that and trusted in that because he was the living proof of that.
There you go. So it's super helpful to have a mentor. So, I mean, I would say you get to this crisis of meaning. This is where you're going to evaluate. Is this something I really want to do? How beneficial is it going to be for me? Like how happy am I doing this? That's where you have to question yourself. Would I want to do this? Would I not make any money from it? Or you have a coach or somebody push you through it,
Right.
knowing that you will eventually succeed. And then once you get through that crisis of meaning, if you don't crash and burn and just like quit, then you'll go into an informed optimism state. That is where you're learning and you're understanding how things actually work. Because of this uninformed optimism, you don't know how anything works, and you're just thinking, oh, it just does, and I'm just going to do it, and it's easy because everyone says it's easy. Then you get into informed pessimism, and that's when you start thinking, oh, this sucks. I don't know if I can actually do this. Like, it's not as lucrative or something as people say. But then you start understanding, oh, okay, this is how it works. This is what I can expect. And then as long as you stick to that, you'll eventually reach success.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of add, for some people, the crisis of meaning and informed optimism, that little like curve down and then back up, is the learning curve. I feel
Oh,
like
100%,
right?
it is.
But at the same time, you can also say a lot of people who are very successful definitely went through a crash and burn scenario where they made the mistake where they just quit doing that. Like for example, I had a Shopify business and I also had an Etsy business, and I tried that. But I didn't know the informed optimism yet, so I crashed and burned. But I learned from that because then now I seek for informed optimism at the end of the day
No, 100%.
to push through.
I think that's where you learn if it's something you want to do long term.
Exactly.
Like I tried the e-commerce, I crashed and burned.
Yeah.
I did it quite a few times actually, because I just kept trying to reset, thinking, oh, I didn't get it right. But in reality, I just actually didn't like it.
Yeah.
I only like the marketing side of things.
Yeah.
Right.
So I crashed and burned several times on several different things. But then, like when I found something that I absolutely loved and I hit that crisis of meaning, the thinking was way different. It was, oh, I'm just going to keep going. And I'm just going to keep building because I love what I'm doing. And if something happens, then great.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, I love this chart.
Yeah, it's
So-
cool. I like it too. And Alex Hormozy talks about
Should
this
post
concept.
it in the community.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
actually be cool. We'll have to do that. Because, yeah, this is something Alex Hormozy talks about. And it, like, when he first said it, I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. But anyways, yeah, just a quick chart.
Sweet. Well, was that all we got for today?
That's all
Yeah,
I've got.
That's all I
So,
have too. So,
yeah, we'll get back to you guys. We'll see you guys next episode, I guess. I don't know. Here, you close it out. Mark, take that part out.
Stay tuned, y'all, for the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, and see you guys on the next one.